Many people think mental exhaustion is just part of modern life. They assume constantly feeling drained, forgetful, emotionally numb, or unable to focus is simply what happens when you get older or become too busy. So they drink more coffee, scroll endlessly to relax, push themselves harder. But very few people realize that their brain is reacting exactly the way it was designed to react under chronic overload. And the problem is not just stress. It is the non-stop flood of information, notifications, decisions, noise, multitasking, and unfinished thoughts your brain is forced to process every single day. Your nervous system was never designed for this level of stimulation. And over time, mental overload begins to physically change how your brain and nervous system function. Not just mentally, but at a cellular level. By the way, a lot of people watching this kind of content are already past the early warning signs. If you feel like your nervous system has been running on empty for a while, I've been looking into some plant-based support options that a lot of people in this community have found helpful. I'll leave a link pinned in the comments. But let's get into the 3 changes first. Researchers now understand that constant cognitive overload affects attention, memory, emotional regulation, sleep, and even the brain's ability to repair itself. But something fascinating happens when you begin reducing that overload. Your brain starts reacting differently almost immediately. Focus sharpens. Stress hormones begin dropping. Sleep improves. Thoughts slow down. And many people report feeling mentally lighter for the first time in years. The good news is that you do not need to completely escape modern life to make this happen. By changing a few specific daily inputs, you can reduce the hidden pressure overloading your brain and allow your nervous system to recover. And for some people, behavioral changes alone are enough. For others, especially those who have been running on empty for months or years, the nervous system needs additional support to get back to baseline. We will come back to that. Let's look at the 3 science-backed changes that help your brain shift out of survival mode and restore mental clarity naturally. The first change involves reducing what neuroscientists call attention fragmentation. Your brain works best when it can focus on one thing at a time. But modern technology constantly pulls your attention in multiple directions. A message appears. A notification vibrates. You check one thing, then another, then another. Even if each interruption only lasts a few seconds, your brain pays a massive biological price every single time your attention shifts. Researchers studying multitasking found that constant task switching increases mental fatigue and significantly raises cortisol levels throughout the day. And what is worse is that your brain does not fully reset after each interruption. Part of your attention remains stuck on the previous task. Psychologists call this attention residue. Imagine trying to run while dozens of people continuously pull on your arms and your legs never fully stop moving. That is what excessive multitasking does to your nervous system. It keeps the system in a state of low-grade alert, burning energy without rest. And here's something worth knowing. Some of the botanical ingredients that researchers have studied most for nervous system support, like passion flower and corydalis, are specifically associated with helping the body manage that kind of chronic tension and restlessness. The product I mentioned in the comments uses both of those. Over 10,000 people have left reviews on it. I'll leave the link pinned below if you're curious. Over time, your brain becomes trapped in a constant low-level stress response. You may notice it as brain fog, irritability, forgetfulness, or feeling mentally exhausted, even after doing very little physical work. To reduce this overload, you need to create periods of uninterrupted focus. Even short blocks of protected mental space can dramatically change how your brain functions. Silence unnecessary notifications. Stop switching between apps every few minutes. Allow your brain to fully complete one task before jumping into another. When attention fragmentation decreases, your nervous system finally stops operating like it is under attack, and that alone can significantly lower mental fatigue. The second change is reducing artificial dopamine overstimulation. Every time you rapidly switch between videos, social media posts, notifications, emails, or endless content feeds, your brain receives tiny bursts of dopamine. Dopamine itself is not bad. It is essential for motivation, learning, and pleasure. But modern platforms are designed to flood your brain with constant novelty. And over time, your nervous system adapts to this overstimulation. The result is subtle but powerful. Normal life begins to feel emotionally flat. Simple tasks feel boring. Focus becomes harder. Patience disappears. And your brain starts craving more and more stimulation just to feel engaged. Neuroscientists often compare this to keeping your brain's reward system stuck with the accelerator pressed down. Eventually, the nervous system becomes fatigued. This is why many people feel mentally restless, even while supposedly relaxing online. Their brain never fully enters recovery mode. One of the fastest ways to reduce mental overload is creating periods of low stimulation throughout the day. Go for walks without your phone. Eat meals without videos playing. Sit in silence for a few minutes. Allow your brain to experience boredom again. That may sound uncomfortable at first, but studies show that moments of reduced stimulation allow the brain's dopamine system to rebalance itself naturally. And when that happens, something surprising occurs. Focus improves. Motivation returns. And everyday life begins feeling calmer and more enjoyable again. The third change is learning how to close mental loops before sleep. One of the biggest hidden causes of mental overload is unfinished cognitive processing. Your brain hates uncertainty. When problems remain unresolved, tasks remain incomplete, or worries stay mentally active, your nervous system keeps those thoughts running in the background, even while you are trying to rest. Psychologists refer to these as open loops, and your brain treats them like active threats that still require attention. This is one reason why so many people over 40 describe the same experience. Their body is exhausted, they lie down, and then the mind simply will not stop. It is not weakness. It is a nervous system that has been running in emergency mode for so long it no longer knows how to switch off. A fascinating study from Baylor University found that participants who spent just a few minutes writing down their unfinished tasks before bed fell asleep significantly faster than those who did not. Why? Because writing helps the brain stop holding everything internally. It creates psychological closure. The brain finally receives the signal. We will deal with this later. You do not need to stay alert anymore. To lower nighttime mental overload, keep a notebook beside your bed. Before sleeping, write down the tasks on your mind, the problems bothering you, or the things you are afraid of forgetting tomorrow. Do not keep carrying everything inside your head. Once your brain stops trying to juggle unfinished thoughts all night long, your nervous system begins shifting out of survival mode. Sleep becomes deeper. Focus becomes sharper. Emotional reactions become calmer. And many people notice something they have not felt in years: mental silence. If you apply these three changes, reducing attention fragmentation, lowering dopamine overstimulation, and closing mental loops before sleep, you can physically reduce the hidden stress burden overwhelming your brain. And when you combine these behavioral changes with intentional support for your nervous system, the recovery tends to happen faster and feel more complete. Before we wrap up, if anything in this video described exactly how you've been feeling, I want to point you to something I've had pinned in the comments. It's a plant-based formula called Nerve Balance, made with ingredients studied for their role in supporting a calm and balanced nervous system. It's manufactured in FDA-registered facilities GMP certified, and non-GMO verified, which is the minimum I look for before recommending anything here. The 3-bottle package ships free and comes with a 60-day guarantee. Link is in the first comment below. And when mental overload decreases, your brain begins functioning the way it was originally designed to function. You think more clearly. You feel calmer. You stop reacting emotionally to every small stressor. And your nervous system finally gets a chance to recover. Try these habits consistently for the next few days. Give your brain time to adjust to a slower and healthier rhythm. And pay attention to how differently your mind begins responding to daily life. You may realize that you were never actually lazy or unmotivated. Your brain was simply overloaded. If this video helped you understand what may be happening inside your mind, leave a comment below describing which part felt most familiar to you. And if you want more science-backed videos about brain health, stress, longevity, and mental performance, make sure to subscribe. Because once you understand how your brain truly works, everything starts to change.